What is up, everybody? I am the Anarchist from 420 Creations, and welcome back to our epic journey into Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. Last episode, we launched into the suborbital flight training exercise, which you can see on your screen, where we learned how to perform a successful launch of the intermediate rocket that we built during the last training exercise, but we also learned how to get it back in one piece. That taught us how to use the throttle and built-in navigational instruments during flight, which was very, very useful. So if you missed out on that training, don't worry. You can always catch up on the last episode here, which will always be linked in the description below. We're in continued orbit around the training exercises, and in this episode, we're going to make a stop at the science basics training to see if we can finally learn how to perform various science tasks in order to start completing missions in career mode. So sit back, grab your munchies, and let's blast off. So as you can see, science basics training in this tutorial, Werner von Kerman will walk us through the Kerbal scientific method, and we will learn how experimentation works and why it's so cool. So, immediately greeted by Werner von Kerman. Hello, and welcome to today's lecture on the Kerbal scientific method. I am Werner von Kerman, scientist extraordinaire. The tutorial doesn't really require any previous knowledge, but in order to gather science points, you'll have to acquaint yourself with almost every aspect of the game, so you should do them all at some point. We are now at the Kerbal Space Center for a tour. See the basic construction tutorial. For now, we'll focus on the research and development complex. The large complex nearest to you is the Research and Development Complex. This is where you will make use of the science points your missions award you to unlock more parts. Go ahead and click on it to see it in action. Very good. What you see in the middle of the graph paper background is the tech tree. It shows how far your research has taken Kerbal technology. You don't have much to show right now, because you're not a world-class scientist like myself. At least not yet. But I trust you have the potential to achieve great things. Well, thanks, Van. In a typical career game, you'll start with a few parts and have to earn the rest, like we did in the first episode. For education's sake, I've gone ahead and given some data units to your space program. So you should have enough science to unlock the next node, which in our career mode, I believe we had already unlocked the next two nodes, actually. If I remember correctly, I believe we were able to unlock the next two. Let's get cracking. Select any of the available grayed out nodes and click on the blue research button on the right pane. Some of your science points will be spent to buy that invention. So we did have the basic rocketry, and we did do the engineering 101 because we had the decoupler in the first episode. We ended up getting the TD12 decoupler, the 2-hot thermometer, and we ended up getting the basic rocketry as well because we had the swivel engine, which you'll see right there, and the RT-10 hammer solid fuel booster, which is the one we ended up using later on in the first episode. So we have already seen and used these, but we just unlocked one. Hooray! That's how research is done. You may have noticed that additional nodes were linked to the one that you just researched, and we are now available to be researched as well. Don't know what to pick next? Don't worry, you can select a node at any time, and useful information will be displayed on the right pane. This includes the new parts that it contains and how much science is needed to research it. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, this is all nice and jolly, but how do I get more science? You can get more by doing many things, such as gathering crew reports from regions your Kerbals visit, fulfilling some kinds of contracts, collecting samples from various locations. That's what we were actually stuck on, was gathering crew reports in flight below a specific marker on our map. So this will hopefully help us figure out how to complete that. Fulfilling some kind of contracts, collecting samples from various locations. Equipping your ships with parts for experiments such as a mystery goo containment unit and using them, etc. There are many possibilities, really. Most of these actions are performed through context menus, which are displayed when you right-click on various parts and sometimes on Kerbals. We gotta right-click, people. Just keep in mind that your mission needs to transmit the results or survive a physical return to Kerbin in order for the raw data points to be converted into useful science. All of the activities I mentioned and the many others you can discover are tracked in a record for future reference. You can access these science archives by clicking the yellow button on the upper left. Well, what are you waiting for? Click it! Science archives. That's it. The first and most important thing to notice is the rugged good looks of the fellow in charge. You can also see which science activities you have already performed. Oh, yes. Vernhe, we gotta take note of the handsome Vernhe von Kerman over on the side. Welcome to Science Archives. Please make a selection, he says. So we can see which science activities we've already performed, when, with whom, and how much science they earn for us. This is going to be important because, you see, if you repeat the same experiment multiple times, its scientific value diminishes because you already knew part of the answer. Mind you, as a result, you'll receive less science each time you repeat an action until you get practically nothing for it at all anymore. Another outstanding feature of the archives is that you can check which celestial bodies you have already visited and conducted experiments on or around. You can do so by clicking the icon corresponding to the body that you're interested in. For now, you will only see the records of the research I gave you, but once you start doing your own science, you will be able to check it out here. That covers the basics of science. This is a theoretical class, and I'm sure it will all make a lot more sense when you go out and try it yourself. Remember that science requires curiosity, so go out and experiment and don't be discouraged if a mission doesn't go quite as planned. If you learn something new, it's not a complete failure. If you're still feeling lost, feel free to try the other tutorials. I'm looking forward to your accomplishments. I must continue my own research now. When you're done, show yourself out by using the red leave button on the upper right. So that was a pretty quick one. See, we got the Sun, Moho, Eve, Kerbin, Duna, Dress, Jewel, and what is that, Delu down there on the bottom? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other planets that we can go visit. Oh, and there's moons for each. There's Eve had a moon, Kerbin had 2 moons, the Mun and Minmus. So we'll be able to go explore those first, hopefully. But then, as you can see, there's other planets as well. There's the Moho and the Eve. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed our continued journey into the Kerbalverse. Don't forget to tune in next time, where we'll finally be launching back into our career mode gameplay, an attempt to complete the missions we got stuck on in our first episode, which I mentioned earlier, but that was to take an in-flight crew report to gather scientific data. So you're definitely not going to want to miss out. If you had a blast watching, go ahead and light up the like button, and remember to ignite the conversation by sharing your thoughts or questions in the comments section down below. If you want to stay up to date with our cosmic crew here at 420, make sure to spark up the subscribe button for more interstellar escapades. Until the next adventure, stay toasty, my friends.